The Phillies take on the Cubs, 8:05 p.m. Eastern start time. The Philadelphia Phillies are minus 140 with the total at 7 juice to the over. If you like the Cubs in an upset in the friendly confines, they're plus $1.20 for some money line cash. Now Chicago's also minus 140, catching the 1.5 on the run line. Alec Mills is on the hill for Chicago. Zach Wheeler for the Fightins. Now we're 7-2 in our last 9 board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. And the good news is we have another board member tier package pick going off here this evening. We're also hitting at 60% in our last 26 board member tier package picks in that very same category. We currently have over 875 members who are signed up and active on that page. And if you want to see which one of these YouTube picks I'm actually betting on personally, link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. And despite an incredible year thus far for Zach Wheeler, the Phillies tend to play their worst baseball on the road. The Fightins have gotten the W in only 17 out of 43 road games, and that's good for just 39% in that particular category. This Phillies lineup is also in the bottom 10 in strikeouts at the plate. They're taking on a Chicago club who plays their best baseball typically at Wrigley Field. Chicago's 26-15 straight up in the friendly confines. They're also in the top 5 in fewest runs allowed at home as well. Alec Mills is 3-2 thus far in the season with 35 strikeouts and just over 42 innings of work. And when it comes to the total in this one, the Cubs' last 2 home games both got over the number. Philadelphia's gone 4-1 to the over in their last 5 on the road themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 and the over 7 runs. Next matchup, A's versus the Astros, 8:10 p.m. East. The Houston Astros are minus 150, numbers 8.5. Luis Garcia for Houston, Sean Manaea for Oakland. Manaea's got 6 wins thus far in this season, 3.13 ERA and 102 strikeouts. And despite a bit of a rough patch here lately, the A's are still playing their best baseball when they bat first. They're 22-16 straight up as the road team. They cashed in on the run line in over 63% of those road contests. This Oakland pitching staff is in the top 3 in fewest walks allowed per 9. They're also holding their opponents to just 3.9 runs per contest away from their home field. Now they're taking on a Houston club who lost 3 out of their last 4 home games despite their current win streak. Their pitching staff's also in the bottom half of the league in walks allowed at home. Now, total-wise, when it comes to the number in this one, 3 out of Houston's last 4 home games got over the line. They're also 27-16 to the over for the entire season at Minute Maid Park. I'm going to lean toward the Oakland A's plus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs. Next contest I have for you, it is going to be Rockies versus the D-backs, 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Both teams are minus $1.10, pretty much a coin flip in this one. Totals 9.5 juice to the under. Antonio Sensatella for Colorado, Humberto Castellanos for Arizona. Now the D-backs still have the worst record in the major leagues. They're 24-63 overall for the season, and that's good for a win percentage of just .276. The D-backs have also lost 7 out of their last 9. And they're dead last in the league in runs allowed per game. They're taking on a Colorado club who won 6 out of their last 8 themselves. Their lineup's also in the top 10 in fewest strikeouts at the plate. Ryan McMahon has hit 16 homers and knocked in 45 for the Rockies. Meanwhile, Trevor Story and C.J. Cron, they've both hit 11 home runs respectively. Now, total-wise, Colorado's gone 9-1 to the under in their last 10 ball games. Meanwhile, the D-backs saw 3 out of their last 5 at Chase Field stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Colorado Rockies minus $1.10 and the under 9.5. Next contest, it is going to be Cards Giants 9:45 East. The San Francisco Giants are minus $1.85, totals 8.5 flat. Alex Wood for San Francisco, Johan Oviedo for St. Louis. Now, Oviedo's 0-4 on the season, 5.14 ERA, and a 1.55 whip. The righties walked 26 batters and struck out just 37. St. Louis Cardinals are a game under 500 right now, and they play their worst baseball on the road. Out of their 46 away games, they picked up the W just 20 times. They're also dead last in the league in striking batters out on the road. They're walking over 4.7 batters a game away from home as well. Now they're taking on a first-place Giants club who's 21 games over 500. And they also have a record of 26-13 at Oracle Park. The San Francisco pitching staff leads the majors in fewest walks allowed. They also give up only 3.7 runs a game. Alex Wood is 7-3 on this season, 3.89 ERA and a 1.19 whip. The lefty struck out 81 hitters in just over 76 innings. When it comes to the number in this one, 3 out of San Francisco's last 4 home games got over the number. They're also 20-12 to the over against National League competition at home. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are 24-17 to the over against National League competition when they travel themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco. Let's try that again. I'm going to lean toward the San Francisco Giants minus 185 and the over 8.5. Next ball game, Yankees Mariners 10:10 p.m. East. The New York Yankees are minus $1.15. Totals 8.5. Domingo Germán for New York. Yusei Kikuchi for Seattle. Now the Cooch man is 6-3 thus far in this season, 3.18 ERA and a 1.03 WHIP. Cooch has also struck out 93 batters. The Mariners have won 4 out of their last 6 ball games, 26-18 straight up at T-Mobile Park. The Seattle pitching staff is in the top 10 in fewest home walks allowed. They're taking on a Yankee club who lost 7 out of their last 10 ball games themselves, 1-3 straight up in their last 4 on the road. This Yankee lineup's in the bottom 10 in strikeouts at the plate. Meanwhile, Domingo Germán comes into today's game with a 4-5 record and a 4.50 ERA. Now, when it comes to the scoring in this one, the Yankees are 21-18 to the under as the road team. Meanwhile, Seattle's 26-18 to the under as the home team themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Seattle Mariners plus $1 and the under 8.5. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final ball game. It is going to be Nats versus the Pods, 10:10 p.m. East. San Diego Padres are minus $1.80. Totals 8.5. Chris Paddock for San Diego. Patrick Corbin for Washington. Now, Corbin's just 5-7 on the season with a 5.56 ERA and a 1.40 WHIP. Washington has lost 5 out of their last 6 ball games, and they're in the bottom 5 in scoring on average per game. They're taking on a San Diego club who's 31-16 at Petco Park. The Pods pitchers are also in the top 3 in home strikeouts, and they allow only 3.3 runs a game on their home field. Chris Paddock's fanned 75 batters in just 73 innings. When it comes to the total in this one, San Diego's last 4 home games all got over the line. Meanwhile, the Nationals saw 2 out of their last 3 road games get over the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the San Diego Padres minus 180 and the over 8.5. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap, powered to you by my Patreon website. I like the Chicago Cubs plus 1.5 over 7. Oakland plus 1.5 over 8.5. Colorado minus $1.10 under 9.5 runs. San Francisco minus 185 over 8.5. Seattle plus $1 under 8.5. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 7-2 in our last 9 board member tier package picks on my Patreon website. We're also hitting at 60% in our last 26 board member tier package picks in that very same category. I'm going to lean toward the San Diego Padres minus 180 and the over 8.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. If you guys do end up getting a package here on my Patreon website today, just keep in mind Patreon's going to bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on that Patreon site, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of July. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, happy Wednesday to you, happy hump day to you, and I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.